Hi there. If you have diabetes or someone you love is suffering or struggling with that damn D, then this is the episode to watch.
Plus, we have our all-new Diabetes Survival Guide. You can download it. We'll tell you how in this episode. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Insulin Suppression Podcast, where it's all about going from hopeless to healed with certainty, right action, and science.
Here are your hosts, Barbara and Charlie McDermott.
Hey there, Charlie McDermott and Barbara here for this episode of the Insulin Suppression Podcast. And today we're talking about diabetes and in particular how to survive that dang disease. And we see it a lot.
Oh my, well, we live it every day. We live it here in our lives, don't we?
Yeah.
I always make a little, not joke, but you know, it's a carb and barb filled world. You know, we are led to believe we have to consume copious amounts of carbohydrates in order to be healthy. And we also have so many cutting remarks. Is there any other disease on the planet that the person with it gets blamed and shamed? It's a tough road to hoe.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it with Aaron.
We did.
With type 1. You know, people just assume that because you have diabetes, whether it's type 1 or type 2, that it's your fault. And
you know you should be using more willpower. If they just use some self-restraint, if they just ate healthy.
They know better.
It should all work out.
You know better.
Oh,
My brother knows better.
Yeah.
I mean, enough of all that. And in fact, that's what we do. You know, we're all about making you smarter, not working harder.
To work harder. And I'm telling you, with a condition, I can't even call it a disease. You don't catch diabetes, right? You don't get rid of it by taking medicine. It's a condition that you have to live with. So in order to be able to survive life with that diabetes label, you've got to be smarter. Yeah. And the cool thing is, once you're smarter, everybody else you can start throwing the directives back in other people's laps. Now that feels like vindication, right?
Yeah.
It's very cool when you understand the science.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, before we get too far along here, I do want to let you know that we put together an awesome, what we call a diabetes survival guide. So make sure you get over to our blog. That's theshiftformula.com, and then in the navigation, just click on the blog and look for the Diabetes Survival Podcast that we're doing, or episode, and make sure you download that, because we're not only going to summarize what we're covering now, but more importantly, give you some, a real valuable resource that you can use to help you survive diabetes and do it in a way where you're thriving and not
just surviving. Yeah, because life's about thriving. Yep.
But anyway, let's get back into it.
Just something as simple as the word diabetes. I remember when our daughter was diagnosed, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. That's the more urgent, lethal version, autoimmune version, right?
Right.
But I remember I had a hard time even saying the word because there was so much judgment and so much misunderstanding around it. And anyone who doesn't have a situation that is diabetic, they cannot even possibly understand what you are going through all day, every day. And the world, when they hear the word diabetes, what's the first thing we come into our mind? Oh, blood sugar. It's about sugar in the blood. It's blood sugar. But here's where we work smarter, not harder. But we really have to understand that it's actually a dual situation. It's not so much that the blood sugar value got too high, it did. But it's the fact that the insulin that your body's producing is either insufficient, you're not making enough insulin, or inefficient. It's not doing its job well enough. And when we understand that all the directives that the world has been telling us to do, that is healthy eating and a healthy lifestyle, is actually what's led you to becoming, AKA, that are, we're not diabetic. Labeling is lousy. To me, everybody on the planet has some degree of diabetes. Yeah. Here's the thing. If you have friends who are telling you, oh, should you be eating that? And they're carrying a spare tire around their waist, that's blood sugar. Okay? That's your insulin belt. So don't be letting other people, even the guys and the gals in the white coats who might be carrying their spare tire and telling you you're not doing something well enough. That's their blood sugar. Blood sugar's our belt, insulin belt. Okay? You can also tell if you have high blood sugar or blood sugar's presence in your life and insulin's presence in your life by how quickly you're aging or slowly. Are you aging slower than your peers? then insulin and blood sugar is less of a player in your life. You're doing things according to universal principle. We talk about right action compared to action. The world does a whole lot of action, right? We're running, we're beating, we're lifting, we're oranging, we're, whatever it is.
Popping pills, doing smoothies.
My gosh. But it's working against universal principle, how the body operates. But, aging, memory, and waste. There are 3 ways we can visibly, or at least have an understanding of how prevalent blood sugar and insulin is in our lives. Not just those of us labeled with the big D over our heads. Right. Everybody.
Right. We're all in this together, in other words.
We are all in this together, and that's what we found out. We were and we're still pro-exercise. Exercise is a great endorphin lift. It keeps our muscles supple. It keeps our mitochondria many and mighty. It's what helps us to be more of a powerful fat-burning machine rather than relying on sugar burning. That's a whole other planet of discussion. But, we thought that exercise was it.
Well,
it was the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Like if you just exercised, life would work out.
Exercise could overcome just about anything.
And I'm so sorry to all of those in our past who maybe we led to believe that they were the problem. We just didn't know enough. So when our daughter was diagnosed with this type 1 autoimmune disease, diabetes, all of a sudden, blood sugar and insulin, these powerful mechanisms within our bodies. And when we understood that finally, it was a jaw dropper. And now we live it every day. So if you have diabetes or you have loved ones with diabetes, any version, pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, type 1, the autoimmune version of diabetes, type 3 diabetes, dementia, and Alzheimer's, or you have chronic pain in the form of fibromyalgia or neuropathy, or do you have developing heart disease going on? All of these, cancer. Cancer needs blood sugar and insulin. Damn, this is why people labeled diabetic. Yeah, you're much more likely to die of cancer. You're much more likely to die of heart disease. You're much more likely to develop type 3 Alzheimer's, which you said, not our daughter. You have to learn this stuff. But once you understand blood sugar and insulin, you actually own the keys to your kingdom. And this is what we do. We teach the science of blood sugar and insulin for the entire planet, not just for those of us labeled already diabetic. To me, diabetes is the messenger of the 21st century, and if you have it, you owe it to yourself or to your loved one to learn as much as you can about it.
So, we've got Blue calling us.
I
know. But before we go, and Blue's our dog, by the way.
Dog, sorry.
That's not our child. But this going back to this survival guide, if there were one tip that you would share with the group right now, what comes to mind?
I think one of the biggest tips or concepts that really changed our lives was that, because a diabetic is more prone to cancer, more prone to heart disease, we are actually more fear-mongered to move away from flavorful fats like butter. We had foods out of our kitchen for years of our lives, and now they're back in and they've taken center stage, and we're living again. And so is our daughter with type 1 diabetes. So the whole concept of being afraid,
Fat-phobic.
A great doctor one time said a plant-based diet is a fear-based diet. A plant-based diet is a carbohydrate-based diet. And they're both okay. But let's just understand it and not just be given or swallowing vague directives that the experts and the commercials and the celebrities and the magazines are throwing at us. We need to be able to see any newsstand and go, understand it, not true, real, not real. If you've ever seen the Hunger Games, I swear, when we became a diabetic family, meaning our daughter was diagnosed with type 1, to me, I stepped into my own Hunger Games, my Katniss. Man, you need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that simple game of real, not real. That's what we introduce in that survival guide. To give you a little bit of a foundation. We need to stand on some firm ground.
Yep. So go ahead to theshiftformula.com, go to our blog, find this podcast, which should be right at the top of the page,
Okay.
and download the Diabetes Survival Guide. Whether you have diabetes or not, you're going to find it
Thank you.
very, very helpful because, as Barb said, we're all in this together. We all have some form of diabetes, whether we're on medication or not, doesn't matter.
We're all impacted by the same mechanisms that describe diabetes. But every single one of us, you know, if we're carrying a waistline low, or we have cravings, or we're told our cholesterol is too high, or we have debilitating chronic pain, even neuropathy, if we have dementia in our genetic bullet, please download this resource.
Okay, theshiftformula.com. Also, get on over, if you haven't already, to our Smart Diabetes and Weight Loss page. To get there, go to haltweightgain.com, and we will see you in the next episode.
Yeah.
We got to go feed Blue. Sounds like she's hungry.
Okay, see you next time, everybody. We're here for you.